Welcome, my fellow attorneys, to the National Bankruptcy Academy video series. I'm your host, Robert Schaller, an attorney with over 34 years of experience and a registered certified public accountant. Today, we'll be discussing Schedule H, your co-debtors, with a line-by-line analysis with real-world commentary. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's start with the basic question. What constitutes a co-debtor? A co-debtor is one or more persons or entities that is primarily liable for the same debt for which the debtor is also liable. Stated differently, a co-debtor is a person or entity who is responsible for paying the same debt owed by the debtor. Three common examples include the following. First, a non-filing spouse who co-signs a mortgage loan with the debtor. Second, a father or mother who co-signs a vehicle loan with a debtor daughter or debtor son. And third, a roommate who co-signs an apartment rental agreement with the debtor roommate. Another common question is asked, is the spouse who files jointly with the debtor a co-debtor that should be listed on Schedule H if that spouse owes the exact same debt as the debtor? Well, the answer is definitely no. Co-debtors appearing in Schedule H can never be the joint filing spouse whose name appears on the petition. A debtor's schedule of co-debtors is officially titled Official Form 106H. Schedule H, your co-debtors. Official Form 106H is commonly referred to just as Schedule H. Use Schedule H to list any co-debtors who are responsible for any debts the debtor has listed on the office schedules. List all of the debtor's co-debtors and the creditors to whom the debtor owes the debt, even if the debtor intends to repay the debts in full. For example, if someone co-signed for the car loan that the debtor owes, the debtor must list that person on Schedule H. Examples of co-debtors could include the following: a co-signer, a guarantor, a former spouse, an unmarried partner, a joint contractor, or a non-filing spouse, even if the spouse is not a co-signer. When? Where the debt is for necessities such as food or medical care, if the state law makes the non-filing spouse legally responsible for the debts for necessities. Now let's turn our attention to this bankruptcy form with a line-by-line analysis with real-world commentary. I hope you enjoy the video. Now let's look at Schedule H and complete it. Up in the top left, you'll see the familiar form that starts with fill in this information to identify your case, where it identifies debtor 1, debtor 2, and the district in which the bankruptcy case is filed. So let's fill that out for our George and Martha Washington clients. So debtor 1, George Washington. And debtor 2, Martha Washington. And they're going to be filing the bankruptcy in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. So let's scroll down and find the Eastern District of Virginia. And there it is. So I'll click on the Eastern District of Virginia. The next is the case number. So if this case has already been filed, then a case number would have been assigned by the clerk of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. But in this particular case, we're filing Schedule H at the same time we're filing the petition. Therefore, there is no case number at the time of filing. Instead, the clerk of the court will assign a case number and identify this Schedule H, typically electronically. You'll notice over to the right, there's a box that says, check if this is an amended filing. And we would check this box if the Schedule H had already previously been filed and this is now an amended filing. So we would check that if it was amended, but then we'd have to come over here to the case number and identify the case number, for example. And by definition, if this is an amended Schedule H, that means an original Schedule H had to have been filed, and then therefore the petition had already been filed, so a case number would have been assigned. But in this specific case of George and Martha Washington, we're filing Schedule H with the petition, so there is no case number. So I'm going to delete the case number, and I'm going to uncheck this box because it's not an amended filing. Moving down the form, you can see the form has an official title. It's called Official Form 106H. Schedule H, your co-debtors. Now let's read the instructions. Quote, co-debtors are people or entities who are also liable for any debts you may have. Be as complete and accurate as possible. If two married people are filing together, Both are equally responsible for supplying correct information. If more space is needed, copy the additional page, fill it out, and number the entries in the boxes on the left. Attach the additional page to this page. So the first line is a question. That is, do you have any co-debtors? If you're filing a joint case, do not list either spouse as a co-debtor. So the answer is either no or yes. If the answer is no, then you check the no box. However, in this case of George and Martha Washington, they do have a co-debtor. So I'm going to uncheck the no box, and instead I'm going to check the yes box. And I'm going to scroll down to reveal question 2. Question 2 asks the question, within the last 8 years, have you lived in a community, property, state, or territory? And then parenthetically, it states community, property, states, and territories include Arizona, California, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Puerto Rico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin. In this case, George and Martha Washington live in the Eastern District of Virginia, and that is not a community property state. So I would check the box no. However, if you lived in a community property state or territory, then I would uncheck the no box and instead check the yes box, which then asks the question, did your spouse, former spouse, or legal equivalent live with you at the time? If the answer is no, check the no box. But if the answer is yes, check the yes box, and then continue on. The question is, in which